back to the Seesaw and another episode of Vlogmas. So Caleb and I thought today we would share with you some of our favourite Christmas movies. Know a lot of people have had to change their Christmas plans, and maybe you're now at home, just a few of you, just your household or just by yourself. And we just thought we'd share with you which are our top 5 Christmas movies each. Maybe it's something you haven't seen that you think, oh, I'd like to find that and have a look at that this Christmas, or maybe it will remind you of something that you enjoy and you haven't seen for a while. So we're going to count down from 5 to 1. Now, my 5th place one is a bit of a rom-com chick flick. There's several of them around the holiday Christmas season, but my favourite one is The Holiday, which has in it Jude Law and Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz and Jack Black. Lots of comedy, as you'd expect with Cameron and Jack in it. A really lovely storyline. So without giving anything away, the two girls are both kind of at a dead end and a bit miserable with life at Christmas time, and decide to sign up for a house swap website. One lives in a little village in England and the other lives in LA. They end up swapping houses and sort of taking over each other's lives for the Christmas period, and it is just a lovely feel-good movie. I don't have the DVD of this one, but it is on TV every Christmas. I have checked the TV listings, and it is on a couple of times over this Christmas. So if you haven't seen that one and you like a good kind of feel-good with a bit of romance and a lot of comedy, then definitely pick up The Holiday. So Caleb, what's your number 5?
Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas Chronicles, and that's a Netflix movie, isn't it?
That's number 1 though. The first one.
The first one, but it's your number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you like about Christmas Chronicles?
I like how, well, most of my Christmas movie list is mostly adventure movies.
Yeah.
Adventure Christmas movies. But I like this one. It's in my top 5 because it's adventure, and Kate Pierce and her brother went to the North Pole. Well, they had planned to go to the North Pole, and they stayed up all night to catch Santa, and they found Santa, and they actually ate a lot of snacks while waiting for Santa.
They had a lot of snacks.
Yeah, they ate like a whole tub of popcorn.
Oh, wow.
Then they got to then they found Santa, and he eventually found them, and and Kate and her brother went into the sleigh, and Santa found them, and he dropped his presents.
Wow.
Dropped his presents in the city of Chicago.
Okay. That's a really good movie, isn't it? It's a really nice one, and it's Kurt Russell is Santa. And say that's available on Netflix. It's a Netflix own movie, and it came out, was it last Christmas or the Christmas before? 2018. So it's been out for a couple of years, but definitely if you have a Netflix subscription and you haven't seen Christmas Chronicles, definitely look for that one. So then my number 4 is The Polar Express. Now this story is just, again, a lovely feel-good Christmas story. So it's quite magical. It's about believing in the magic of Christmas. And Caleb will tell you a bit more about this because it's also on his list, but a bit further up his list.
It's number 1.
It is his number 1. But we have had this movie since Caleb was quite small. It's CGI, it's Tom Hanks, and the character that Tom Hanks voices looks like Tom Hanks, which I always find a little bit weird. It creeps me out a little bit, I have to say. But very, very well voiced and very, very well designed in terms of the CGI, and just a beautiful, magical story. So that is my number 4. What's your number 4, Caleb?
The Snowman and the Snow Dog.
Okay, so we have this one too. The Snowman and the Snow Dog. And what do you like about that one?
Again, it's kind of, I think every single one in my list is still adventure.
Yeah.
But it's, I think it's the, like, the sequel of The Snowman, but there's a Snow Dog as well.
Yeah. And who doesn't like a movie that has a dog in it? Dogs always make movies great, don't they?
Well, apart from people that don't like dogs.
If you don't like dogs, you won't like it.
Well,
But
you could like it.
it is a magical, and it is a lot like the original story.
The snowman comes to life, so
Yeah.
so does the snow dog.
So does the snow dog. And what happens at... Oh, we better not say what happens at the end in case somebody hasn't seen it. But
And
it has
they
a
wanna
really
and they
cute
wanna
little
see-
twist on the end of this one that is not the same as the ending for the original Snowman
And that
movie.
one was made in 1982.
So that is Caleb's number 4. So then we get to our number 3s. You be thinking about what your number 3 is. And my number 3 is, again, a classic, an absolute classic. There has been a modern makeover of it, which I don't particularly like. I just like the original classic, which is, I think, from the 60s or perhaps the early 70s. And that is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Obviously a Dr. Seuss book. That we love, a story that we love. If you saw our episode on the books that we like at Christmas time, it was featured in that. And the original animated version I just love, and it is just a feel-good Christmas story again. It's and this year it feels quite topical. I actually put a post on my Facebook page the other day saying you know, they can take away all the trimmings of Christmas, but they can't actually take away Christmas, because it is it's about something much bigger. It's about what's in your heart and how you feel and spending time with people you love, and that's far more important than all the baubles and tinsel and food and everything else. So I just love the story. I love the original animation. Not a big Jim Carrey fan anyway, so I didn't particularly like that version, but if that's the only one you can find, then still check it out, because it's sort of true to the original storyline, but the original animated one just tells the story, so it's all in the Dr. Seuss rhyme, and it is the narrated story with obviously the pictures to go with it. So if you can find the original, please watch that one, because it is a beautifully animated for an early animation. It is beautiful. So that's my number 3. Caleb, your number 3?
Christmas Chronicles 2.
Christmas Chronicles 2. So that one's new this year, yes?
Yeah, it came out like at the end of October, so like on Halloween.
Okay, and that's also on Netflix, obviously. It still has Kurt Russell as Santa, but it has different children in it. I haven't watched it yet. So.
It has Jack, who almost looks the same as me.
Okay.
Kind of. And this time it's almost 3 hours long. 3 or 2 hours long.
Wow, it's a very long movie then.
Or probably 2.5 hours. But they go on adventure again, another adventure.
They go to the North Pole again?
Yes. So at the beginning there's Kate Pierce again. She went on holiday in Mexico. I think it was Mexico. She went on holiday in Mexico. And she had a new dad, I guess, because her original dad died before the first one.
Okay.
Before the first one, so he was never featured in either.
So now she has a new dad.
She is having a new dad, and Jack, the boy who looks kind of like me, will be her brother, because that...
stepbrother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because his dad is marrying Kate's mum.
Oh, okay. So
And
it's still a family.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she wants to escape Mexico, so she doesn't have to deal with a new family.
Okay.
And she gets in a golf cart, and Jack secretly hops into the back, and then they get sent into a wormhole that
Okay.
sends them shooting to the North Pole.
Oh, okay. And then the story unravels on the North Pole again.
Yeah, I can't really explain too much, like if you
Without
haven't
giving it away.
if you haven't seen it.
I think the great thing about the Christmas Chronicles is, as I said, Kurt Russell plays Santa, but Mrs. Claus is played by Goldie Hawn, who is Kurt Russell's wife in real life. So it's quite a nice. They're just I just love them as actors, and I love them as a Hollywood couple that's lasted and survived. And so it's just lovely seeing them play Santa and Mrs. Claus, kind of older characters, when they've, you know, if you're my age and older, you will remember them being very young and active characters in most of the movies they've played. So it is nice to see them do that together.
And one thing, Kate's dad is kind of mentioned in the second movie, but when he was younger.
Okay.
And Santa goes back to 1960s, I think, 1970s. And no, 1980s.
Okay.
They go back, and apparently a coincidence that Kate went back into the same airport.
Okay.
Where her dad as a child was.
Okay.
And then they needed to buy batteries to power like something that summons a wormhole, and Kate gave the lady at the cash register money, but it was 2020 money.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was like, why are you giving us money if it only comes out in 40 years? This must be fake money.
Ah, okay. And I think in the original, in thinking Christmas Chronicles 1, they were all quite sad, weren't they? Because their dad had died, and everybody was sad. So that's Caleb's number 3. So my number 2 is a bit of a combination. So my favourite author of all time is Dickens. I just think the way he describes characters is, I still think to this day there hasn't been anybody that does it better. And so therefore A Christmas Carol is one of my favourite stories around Christmas. There have been so many versions made into movies. There's been with different titles, and with Scrooge being a female and it being set in an office, and there's been cartoon versions and again a Jim Carrey version. But I have 3 versions that I love, and I look out for all 3 of them every year. They're always on TV, and I've looked in the TV guide, and again all 3 of them are being shown this year. So the first one is what I feel is the original. There were some versions of it before, but it's the Alistair Sim 1951 black and white version. And Alistair Sim, it plays Scrooge in the way that you would have probably pictured him reading the book. So if you read the Christmas Carol novel and read the descriptions by Dickens of Scrooge, Alistair Sim sums that up perfectly. It's quite scary, it's quite dark, but I just love it. It's quite atmospheric, and I really enjoy that. Then in the 1970s, Albert Finney starred in a version which was turned into a bit of a musical. Now, I love musical theatre. I always have. I've done a lot of amateur dramatic musical theatre. So for me, that was a winner. It didn't go over the top. It didn't turn it into a big, only singing and dancing version. Albert Finney I love from other things he has done, particularly in musicals. And so that version I really love. And then I think my favourite version is the 1980s version that came out with George C. Scott playing Scrooge. A very different Scrooge. He's quite portly. He's definitely not like the scrawny little Alistair Sim version. But it stayed so true to the original story, and that's what I love about it. I think when they go too far off, the musical version with Albert Finney, I loved the story. I loved the way they turned it into a musical, but at the end it all went a bit weird when they went into hell and stuff, and that wasn't part of the story, so it just was a bit odd. But this George C. Scott, if you're going to watch just one version of it, watch George C. Scott. It's 1982, 3-ish that it came out. An absolutely beautiful telling of that story, and I highly recommend it, and I will definitely be watching it probably a couple of times over this Christmas period. So that is my number 2. What's your number 2, Caleb?
Snowman.
So the original Snowman. And I have to say, to link this in, this is my number 1. So this came out in 1982, did we say? So I was 15 when this came out. I had loved the Raymond Briggs picture books. I had always enjoyed those. But there was something about this. It came out as a made-for-movie TV movie, if you remember. It launched on Channel 4, so in the early days of Channel 4. It was introduced by David Bowie. And we settled down to watch it just because I thought it would be interesting. And those first notes started playing with the snow falling on the house. And I was just captured by this story. There's obviously no words, it's musical, apart from the song, it's musical, so there's no narration to it. And I just think for 15 minutes you get completely wound up in this story. It's emotional, it actually makes me quite emotional every year when I watch it. I do watch it on Christmas Eve every year, and I often watch it several other times across the Christmas season too, which is why we have it on DVD. Again, it is on Channel 4 every Christmas. I think this year both this one and The Snowman and Snow Dog are on Christmas Eve and possibly either Christmas Day or Boxing Day as well. But we really love this, don't we? We just love the animation. It's simple and yet it's beautiful. What's your favourite part of that movie?
When one thing is when the snowman shows on all different noses as fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit noses.
We actually cut the top off a pineapple today and I held it against my nose and said this is like the Snowman movie. So those bits are funny.
Because he actually had a pineapple nose in one.
He did, yeah.
And when they met all the snowmen.
All the snowmen dancing at the North Pole with Santa in the middle. We like that, the Highland dancing. My favourite part is when they're on the motorbike going through the countryside and there's the rabbits and foxes and horses. I just think that's a really beautiful scene. And just again, the animation is outstanding on this. It's simple, but it completely tells the story, and the music is obviously just beautiful. So that's my number 1, Caleb's number 2. So Caleb, which movie gets your top spot?
Tom Hanks, The Polar Express again.
The Polar Express is Caleb's favourite Christmas movie. So why is this one your favourite?
This is my favourite. Because
Don't hold it in front of your face. I'll hold it.
But it's my favourite because it's filled with adventure and a trip going through to the North Pole, and just like some of it's funny, some of it's sad, some of it's just entertaining.
Okay. And what's the key message in this about the jingle bells?
Well, Santa gave I forgot his name.
I can't remember his name. Is it Tom? I can't remember the boy's name.
That's probably why.
We both have this movie on our list, but we can't remember the little boy's name.
But the boy.
The boy.
He gets a present from Santa, and there was a bell, and he started ringing it. But only true believers in Christmas could actually hear the bell, and his dad couldn't hear it.
No. So to hear the jingle bell, you have to really believe in Christmas, which is again such a lovely message about the magic of Christmas, and it is a captivating movie. So I would say probably really young children, it might be a bit much for them. But Caleb started watching this when he was about 5 or 6, so school age, I would think, about 5. And he still enjoys it now at 11. So it does span, and I enjoy it as an adult, but I love Christmas, so that's not surprising. So the good thing this year, just remember on Christmas Eve, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock in England, we're doing a jingle bell on the doorstep. So the way that we all stood out and clapped at Christmas on Thursdays during lockdown to support the NHS, we're launching Christmas this year with a 6 o'clock jingle bell. So anything you've got that makes a jingly bell sound, just go ahead and stand on your doorstep and jingle it for 2 minutes on Christmas Eve, just to signal the arrival of Christmas, and it's time for Christmas to start, and let Santa know that we're ready. But if you don't hear any jingle bells, what will that mean?
You're not a true believer.
You're not a true believer in Christmas. So listen for the jingle bells tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, and let's hope you all hear them. But for now, we're off to watch some Christmas movies.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.